We're here today with Jason Peck of Keller Williams Downtown Realty, talking about our quick market update for July of 2016. So when we're talking about what's happened in the marketplace, give us a quick rundown of the actives, under contracts, and solds.
Yeah, currently for the month of July, we had 6,950 active listings on the market. So seasonality adjustment. Obviously, people like to move during the summer when their kids are out of school. We also, in July, we had 5,532 properties go under contract. Average days on market is still hovering about 25 days for single family detached, 22 days on market for attached dwellings.
Awesome. And so when we're looking at that, we did see a slight increase in the active count, but then a decrease in the sales transactions. Is this something that happens year over year, or is this an anomaly that's unique to 2016?
It does happen actually year over year. So we had roughly about a 1% drop in the average sales price in July. But if you look at historically, year after year after year, it always happens in July because of the increase in inventory and the seasonality. So we're hovering roughly about a $454,000 price point for single family detached and $284,000 for attached dwellings.
So only down $5,000 or $6,000 in each price point, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so have you seen, since properties are hanging out in the marketplace just a little bit longer, how are sellers reacting?
We've seen a lot of people talking about plateau. I hate to point out the Denver Post, but I think it was somewhat reckless with what they put out there, saying that the market is plateaued. You have to look at the historical data, and that will tell you a story. We've had people do that in the past, whether it was 2015, 2014, or 2013, that have said similar things. Even like the CEO of Zillow coming out and saying the Denver market was going to crash a couple years ago, if you recall that.
Right.
So obviously, you got to look at the historical trends with that.
The sold transactions are down. So what's the difference
Absolutely. That's a great topic. So, we talked about in the previous market report about the Brexit and interest rates dropping and so forth. So, with that, there was a huge refinance boom that occurred in the prior 45 to 60 days with that announcement. Now, interest rates have ticked up a little bit, but interest rates are still historically low. With that, what we found is that appraisers, because we're only dealing with a select group of appraisers here in the Denver market, appraisers are backed up. So we're seeing contracts being pushed out, your normal 30-day contract being pushed out to 45 to even 60 days. So, some appraisal orders are taking up to 4, maybe 5 weeks to get the appraisal done. So we're seeing that with a lot of transactions from that standpoint. We're also seeing still a little bit of fallout rate. Now, some people have been out there reporting 25% fallout rate. I think that they're looking at the statistics wrong. Really, the number, depending on how you're looking at it, and you should get with your local title person because they're going to have more accurate stats on this than what we're seeing from the MLS, is about 10 to 15% fallout rate.
That's probably what we've been seeing within our industry as well, is closer to that 10 to 15%. What we have been noticing is that transactions have been pushing and taking a little bit longer, where we see a lot of homes that are slated to close at the end of the month rolling into the next month instead. And so that can play with the stats just a little bit as well.
The other thing to take into account is new construction. And
Right.
we've seen a lot of new construction getting pushed out because there's a shortage of subcontractors and labor force in that sector.
Absolutely.
So, something that might take 8 to 9 months to build out is getting pushed out 12 to 14 months. So we're seeing a lot of that as well.
Since we're starting to get into the doldrums of the summer months, we've been hearing a lot about price reductions in the marketplace, and I'm sure everyone's been seeing the emails flying around and the notices saying that there's been a price reduction.
Yep.
Can you speak a little bit about what's been happening there?
Ultimately, no matter what the market is doing, price is key, and the buyer's always going to pick that. Even in a seller's market, they're going to make that decision on what they're going to pay for. I do see a lot of agents, we have a terminology in our industry called buying the listing, where they're desperate for a listing and they'll come in and they'll say that the house is worth $50,000 more than what other listing agents are saying. And the seller thinks, well, I'm going to go with them because they say that my house can sell for $50,000 more. It's better to actually underprice your home because you will actually sell it for more. But once you get into that death spiral of price reductions, you're going to have people come in and negotiate even lower
Right.
in this market. So be very, very careful about what you price your home at in this market.
Absolutely. We've heard some great advice saying you can never underprice a home, but you can always overprice a home in this market.
Yes.
So final question. We are seeing some new developments still taking place around Metro Denver. Do you have any words of caution to sellers who live in those areas at a similar price point as the new construction?
If you know of a development that's coming online, now's really the time to sell. If you wait until they start moving dirt and they got that sales shop set up and they start selling properties, that is another person that you're competing against. So we are seeing pockets in the Denver metro market where there is a little stalling occurring on the resale side of things because they're competing directly with a new home builder.
Absolutely.
So you got to be very careful and make sure that, once again, you are getting with an expert that knows about those things that are coming online, that knows things that are going on with the city, who's applying for developments, and that way you can be forward thinking about it. And engaging in that aspect and make the smart decision if you are considering selling to get out before all that occurs.
Well, thank you so much for your time and your insight, Jason. It's always valuable information. We'll look forward to seeing you next month as we come out with our Greater Metro Denver update.
Thank you.